Most fans think football legends fight opponents. They do not. At the end, they fight time. And on one World Cup day, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo showed two completely different ways that fight can look. One came off the bench, changed the temperature of a match, scored again, and left the stadium feeling as if history had simply made room for him. The other played through a tense, frustrated night, searched for service, argued with the rhythm of the game, and walked away with Portugal facing a harder road than it wanted. This is not really a story about who is greater. That argument is older than half the internet and somehow still has a full battery. This is a story about something more interesting. It is about what happens when football stops asking who you used to be and starts asking what your team can still build around you. Because time does not treat every legend the same way. Sometimes time makes a player smaller. Sometimes it makes the system around him smarter. And sometimes, if the team understands the assignment, time turns a superstar into a weapon that only needs half an hour to change a tournament. Argentina against Jordan looked, on paper, like a match Argentina could manage without panic. The defending champions had already done the serious work in Group J. They were already through. Lionel Scaloni had room to rotate. So Argentina did what strong tournament teams often do when the group stage gives them oxygen. They protected legs, tested depth, and asked the squad a very simple question. Can this team still look like Argentina when Messi is not carrying every minute? That question matters more than the scoreline, because every champion eventually reaches the same uncomfortable place. The star is still the star, but the tournament is no longer about worshiping him. It is about managing him. In Arlington, Argentina made 9 changes to the starting lineup. Only Emiliano Martinez and Lautaro Martinez remained from the usual spine. That could have made the match feel loose, slow, and slightly ceremonial. Instead, Argentina controlled large stretches of it. Giovanni Lo Celso gave them the first punch with a free kick in the 19th minute. Lautaro Martinez doubled the lead from the penalty spot. Jordan did not disappear. Musa Altamari pulled one back in the second half, and for a while the game carried that strange group stage energy where one team is managing, the other is chasing pride, and the stadium is waiting for the famous man on the bench to stand up. Then Messi came on, and this is where time became the real subject. Messi at 39 is not supposed to look like the player who could bend every match to his private geometry for 90 minutes. Nobody gets to keep that forever, not even him. But Argentina no longer need him to own every blade of grass. They need him to own moments. That is the difference between a legend aging inside a system and a legend aging against one. Messi entered after the hour mark. 20 minutes later, he drew a foul near the box, stood over the free kick, and did something that felt less like power and more like theft. The wall expected height. The goalkeeper expected the classic arc. The stadium expected the old postcard. Messi went low. The ball slipped under the idea everyone had prepared for, skimming into the corner before the defense could process the insult. Argentina won 3-1. Messi had another World Cup goal. His total in the tournament's history moved to 19. Argentina had 3 wins from 3 group games. The champions walked into the knockout stage with the calm of a side that had solved 2 problems at once. They had protected Messi, and Messi had protected the aura. That is not nostalgia. That is tournament management. The smartest national teams do not ask aging stars to prove they are still 26. They ask what version of the star still bends reality. For Messi, the answer is obvious. He no longer needs volume to create gravity. He can sit outside the match for an hour, watch the angles, feel the rhythm, and enter when the game has begun to reveal its weak points. He is no longer the entire machine. He is the master key. That changes how Argentina feel. It gives Scaloni tactical patience. It lets the midfield function without asking every possession to become a tribute act. It allows Lautaro, Lo Celso, Palacios, and the rest of the squad to carry weight before Messi arrives to sharpen the final edge. This is the great hidden advantage of Argentina's late Messi era. They are not pretending time has stopped. They have negotiated with it. Portugal against Colombia gave a very different lesson. The match in Miami was not a disaster in the obvious way. Portugal did not lose. The score was 0-0. There was no collapse, no humiliation on the scoreboard, no dramatic late goal, that knocked them sideways. But tournament football often tells the truth without needing a goal. Colombia finished top of Group K. Portugal finished second. Colombia looked more connected, more comfortable, and more dangerous for longer spells. Portugal looked like a talented team trying to solve an emotional and tactical puzzle in real time. At the center of that puzzle was Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo at 41 is still a phenomenon. That should be said clearly before the analysis starts doing its usual dirty work. The longevity is absurd. The hunger is absurd. The fact that he is still the emotional center of Portugal at a World Cup is something almost nobody in football history could understand from experience. But longevity creates a tactical bill. And against Colombia, Portugal had to pay it. Colombia defended with discipline, closed central spaces, and made the connection into Ronaldo feel awkward. Davinson Sanchez and John Lucumi gave Portugal very little room to breathe around the box. James Rodriguez, operating with the intelligence of a player who has learned how to age through rhythm rather than speed, helped Colombia control the mood of the match. That contrast mattered. James did not need to sprint through Portugal to influence the game. He found pockets, moved the ball, invited pressure, and gave Colombia an attacking personality. Ronaldo needed the game to arrive to him. That is not an insult. It is the reality of role, age, and structure. At his peak, Ronaldo solved problems by attacking space before defenders understood it existed. He could stretch a back line, punish a half cross, explode into a header, or turn a broken attack into a goal by sheer force of timing. Now, the timing is still there, but the game must feed it more precisely. And when the service is poor, when the wide players hesitate, when the midfield cannot draw Colombia out of its shape, Ronaldo becomes visible for the wrong reasons. He drops deeper, he gestures, he waits. He argues with the match. Every striker knows that feeling. The box becomes a lonely country. You can see the cross before it happens, then it never comes. You make the run, then the pass goes sideways. You point to the space, then the team recycles possession. After a while, frustration becomes part of the performance. Portugal had enough talent to win the match. That is why the frustration felt so loud. Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Rafael Leao, João Felix, Vitinha, and the rest of Portugal's creative class are not short of technique. This is not a squad of honest workers politely hoping for a miracle. This is one of the most gifted teams in the tournament. But gifted teams still need a clear attacking contract. Who runs behind? Who fixes defenders? Who attacks the 6-yard box? Who arrives late? Who has permission to ignore the famous name and choose the better pattern? Against Colombia, those questions felt unresolved. This is where the Messi and Ronaldo comparison becomes useful, but not in the childish way. The point is not that Messi scored and Ronaldo did not. Football's too intelligent for that. The point is that Argentina have found a way for Messi's reduced physical demands to increase his danger. Portugal is still trying to make Ronaldo's presence fit every phase of the match without losing the flow around him. One team has turned time into a substitution plan. The other is still turning time into a selection debate. That debate will follow Portugal into the knockouts. Finishing second in Group K changed the path. Portugal now have Croatia waiting. That is not just another fixture. That is the kind of opponent that understands tournament suffering like a native language. Croatia do not panic because the game is tight. Croatia live there. They have spent years turning narrow matches, slow rhythms, and emotional endurance into an international identity. So Portugal's problem is not only that Colombia exposed a flat attacking night. It is that the draw now asks Portugal to fix the issue immediately against a team built to drag opponents into discomfort. Argentina's path looks different. Cape Verde will not be treated lightly, because World Cups punish arrogance faster than social media does. But Argentina entered the round of 32 with 3 wins, squad minutes distributed, and Messi carrying more force than fatigue. That is the difference a group stage can create. Same tournament, same legendary era, 2 completely different relationships with time. Messi's time has become concentrated. He is no longer the storm over 90 minutes. He is the sudden weather change, the free kick, the pause, the touch that makes the stadium inhale before anything has technically happened. Ronaldo's time has become contested. He still carries fear, status, and scoring instinct. But every minute he plays asks Portugal to balance history with present function. If the team plays too directly to him, it can become predictable. If it plays around him too much, the symbol at the center starts to look stranded. If the manager removes him, the decision becomes bigger than tactics. That is the trap of aging greatness. The player becomes both solution and question. For managers, this is brutal. A normal selection call is about form, opponent, and balance. But with Messi and Ronaldo, selection is also about memory. You're not choosing only a player. You're choosing what the nation believes about itself. Argentina believe Messi can still decide the decisive moment. Portugal believe Ronaldo can still be the face of their final push. Both beliefs are understandable. Only one looked fully integrated on this World Cup day. And this is why the old debate suddenly feels smaller than the new one. For 15 years, fans argued about output, trophies, assists, goals, dribbles, penalties, free kicks, Champions League nights, World Cup nights, league dominance, international legacy, and every possible number that could be thrown across a comment section like a chair in a press room. But late career football is judged by a different scoreboard. Can your team still breathe around you? Can your minutes still create more value than tension? Can your aura help the squad rather than freeze it? Can the manager use your greatness without becoming trapped by it? Messi and Ronaldo are no longer competing only with each other. They are competing with the shape of modern football. Modern football is less sentimental than the posters suggest. It presses harder. It travels faster. It exposes weak links. It makes teams defend as units, attack as mechanisms, and transition with brutal speed. It does not care how many goals you scored in a different decade if the current structure cannot carry you. That sounds cold, but it is also what makes this final chapter fascinating. Because legends who survive late into their careers must become editors of themselves. They must remove what time has taken and protect what time cannot touch. Messi has edited his game toward touch, angle, timing, and emotional authority. He drifts less, but the drift means more. He sprints less, but the pass arrives with the same old mischief. He does not need to dominate every possession because the threat of him changes how everyone else behaves. Ronaldo has edited his game toward presence, penalty box instinct, aerial threat, and leadership by force of personality. But that version depends heavily on supply. It depends on Portugal creating the kind of match where one elite finisher can still feel inevitable. Against Colombia, that match never arrived. And when it does not arrive, time appears on the screen. Not as age, as distance. Distance between the run and the pass. Distance between reputation and rhythm. Distance between what the player still believes he can do and what the match is allowing him to do. That is the uncomfortable truth Portugal must solve. Not whether Ronaldo matters. Of course he matters. The question is how? Does he start every knockout match? Does he play shorter, sharper minutes? Does Portugal build more runners around him? Does Martinez give the attack permission to become less emotional and more ruthless? Can Ronaldo accept a version of dominance that is measured in timing rather than total minutes? These are not easy questions because the World Cup is not a laboratory. It is a storm with flags. Managers do not get months to experiment. They get one training session, one press conference, one hostile opponent, and then 90 minutes where every decision becomes public evidence. Argentina's answer looks cleaner for now. Protect the squad, protect the rhythm, protect Messi's sharpness, then release him when the match begins to tilt. It is elegant because it accepts reality. Portugal's answer is still forming. And the knockout stage is a terrible place to discover yourself. There's also a deeper emotional layer here. Messi and Ronaldo have spent so long defining football's present that it feels strange to watch the game prepare for their absence. Every late career touch carries a double meaning. It is the action itself, and also a reminder that there are not many left. Messi standing over a free kick is no longer just a set piece. It is a countdown disguised as art. Ronaldo waiting in the box is no longer just a striker looking for service. It is a question about whether one more great moment can still be forced into existence. That is why fans react so strongly. They are not only watching football, they are watching time become visible through two players who made time feel irrelevant for most of their careers. For years, Messi and Ronaldo bent the sport to their schedule. Seasons revolved around them. Defenders planned for them. Award ceremonies waited for them. Clubs rebuilt around them. National teams carried their hopes through them. Now the sport is asking them to adapt to it. That reversal is powerful. Messi's Argentina looked like a team that has turned the reversal into strategy. Ronaldo's Portugal looked like a team still negotiating the emotional cost. None of this means the story is finished. That would be the easiest mistake. Ronaldo has built half his career out of punishing people who declare the end too early. Give him one cross, one penalty, one mistake from a center back, one night where the lights feel personal, and suddenly the conversation changes again. Messi, too, is not protected from the cruelty of knockout football. One bad bounce, one tired midfield, one opponent brave enough to close the central spaces, and Argentina's calm can become pressure very quickly. That is why the World Cup is perfect for this chapter. It does not give legends a farewell tour. It gives them a bracket. And the bracket is not romantic. It is a machine. Argentina moved toward Cape Verde, with Messi preserved and the squad feeling alive. Portugal moved toward Croatia with Ronaldo still central and the attack needing answers. Colombia move on as group winners because discipline beat reputation. The tournament moves on because tournaments always do. But behind all of it, the biggest story remains. Messi and Ronaldo did not just reveal form. They revealed two models of aging. One model says, reduce the minutes, increase the precision, trust the system, strike when the match opens. The other says, keep the legend on the pitch, keep the belief alive, and hope the structure can still serve the moment before time closes the window. Both are brave. Only one looked comfortable. And maybe that is the final lesson. Time does not defeat football legends in one dramatic scene. It does not walk into the stadium, blow a whistle, and announce the end. It works quietly. It changes the distance of a sprint. It changes the speed of a recovery run. It changes how often the ball arrives. It changes whether a manager sees a player as a starter, a closer, a symbol, or a problem he does not want to name. On this day, Messi made time look like something Argentina had studied. Ronaldo made time look like something Portugal still had to confront. And that is why the next round matters. Not because it might settle the old debate. It will not. That debate will survive the sun. The next round matters because it will tell us whether Argentina and Portugal have truly understood the final stage of greatness. Not how to celebrate it, how to use it. Because in the end, World Cups are not won by memories. They're won by teams that know exactly what their legends can still give, exactly what they can no longer carry, and exactly when to ask for one more miracle. Messi has already given Argentina one. Ronaldo is still waiting for the match that gives him his. And somewhere inside that difference, football is quietly showing us what time really does to kings.